Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 114 of the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast.
Woohoo!
We're brought to you by Black Belt Digital Marketing. Anything you need to build your business on or offline, website design, Google Ads, graphic design, printing, we can help. Check us out at Black Belt Digital Marketing on Instagram or our website, bbdigitalmarketing.com. You can go on the website and request a free review of your entire online presence today. My name is Milton Campus. I'm a brown belt training out of South Florida. We got Bo behind the camera.
Hola.
And joining us today, we have Brenin from BJJ Cops.
Yes, sir.
And Freddy Trillo from the Trillo Academy.
Trillo Academy.
The Trillo Academy. We'll list your accolades in a second. Let me do some quick sponsor shout-out, guys. Appreciate your patience, and then we'll dive right in. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and click the subscribe button on YouTube. We really appreciate the support. A quick few shout-outs. We're going to say hello to Flow and Roll. Hands down, the best custom gi and no-gi gear in the business.
What up, Sean?
Yeah. Don't believe us? Visit them on Instagram at flow_n_roll. Check out all their custom designs. They have this really cool pre-order program. It helps gyms basically get everything they need for their academy, their gi, no-gi gear, and just very little out of pocket. They do a pre-order on their website. Your students can actually order from the site. They'll get their items shipped directly to them, and then you can also use those profits to pay for your gear. And then you have very little out of pocket. So check them out at flowandroll.com. Get 20% off your online orders with code JJD. Okay? Thank you to the BJJ box. We got them here. I did get a box. We're going to wait for Miguel to do an unboxing. This is UX, what they do, right? This is
We need the
a
comic
monthly
relief.
subscription box. Yes. Delivered to your door, filled with premium jiu-jitsu and grappling apparel, equipment, supplements, supplies, snacks, and more. They find the best products in the world of jiu-jitsu. This is the BJJ Monster shirt. You see this one, Bo?
Ooh, nice.
This is a BJJ
I like that.
box. I took this out of the box to wear it today. There's another one for Miguel. But they find the best products in the world of jiu-jitsu and guarantee that every box is going to be worth more than the actual cost. Okay, so the total value of the items in there are going to be way more than the actual cost of the box. Usually includes about 4 to 7 items. And you could use coupon code JJD10 to get $10 off your very first box. Okay. Thank you to NutriZone Clean. Right. You can check them out at NutriZone Clean on Instagram and Facebook. And the NutriZone Clean's mission is to keep you clean on the mats, training, your personal life. I keep this canister is actually the one from my car. I brought it up today because I always forget. I got some wipes. Go get gas. Go do a little of this.
You're a dirty boy.
When I'm at there's a spray. I don't have the spray bottle here. I spray it on a towel after training. I wipe myself down, get rid of the yuckies, right? We're always dealing with like staph and all that MRSA and all that BS. So I, again, carry a canister with me everywhere I go. Get yours at NutriZoneClean.com, and you can use code JJD for 15% off your order. Okay? All right, that was it. I tried to do that as quick as possible,
nice,
guys.
Man. That was like 3 minutes.
Fly through that. Put that on slow. If you put it on fast, it's going to whip through.
Welcome to Neutral Zone.
Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for being patient. Had a lot of fun at the seminar yesterday. Let's kind of talk a little bit about that. Did you guys meet before? Is that the first time? I know you probably know each other from online, but have you met before? And have you ever done a seminar or anything together?
No, we met before. When I used to train in Davie with Master Toko, we used to have Sundays for law enforcement, but just straight up gi, jiu-jitsu. And Freddy, you know what? I'm going to stop by and see what these guys are doing, So we had a bunch of cops. Freddy come in, we rolled. And then Freddy, let's go to my gym. So we went to his gym, and we did one, I don't know, it was a long, long time ago. And
a seminar? You did
not a seminar. It was just training
class?
for, yeah. And so I went to his gym, we trained, and ever since I talked to him off the record, sometimes I do videos in my garage. I'm like, hey, Freddy, what do you think? I ask him, I pick his brains, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So a lot of people don't know this, but Freddy here, Freddy was the pioneer, one of the pioneer of jiu-jitsu for law enforcement in this country, okay?
In Florida, right? Were you not the first black belt cop in Florida?
Quite possibly.
Were you right?
Yeah, because when I started, there was only a few of us, a handful of us, like 6 of us.
Yeah.
This is in the mid-'90s. And out of those 6, I think I'm the only one that got to black.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
others got close, but things happen in life and they stopped.
And by the way, third time on the show.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
third or
Third
second?
time.
Triple
When I was back in the
alumni.
house, in my
Triple
house.
alumni.
That's right, 3 times. That's right.
One time here,
Three
and the
times
second
the
time
charm,
here.
right?
So, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Listen, your episodes are some of the most watched, and
Thank you.
this is a very interesting subject. Jiu-jitsu for law enforcement. One of the first things I told Bo when I got here today, and I've been saying it since I left. I might even said it at the seminar yesterday. Yesterday filled in some of the blanks for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not out there trying to handcuff somebody, but with very small variations of the things that we do as jiu-jitsu practitioners, non-law enforcement practitioners, it's a short leap to the things that we were doing yesterday. Not to say that those things aren't important, but I was just like, oh, wow, I've never been taught to, if I just go this way, oh, wow, look, now I've got the guy's arm stuck here. I'm in a cuffing position. I train with people sporadically throughout my years who are in law enforcement, and I've never had a coach stop and say, hey, by the way, for the LEO guys here, look, if you do that. And I'm like, why not? Why not? And my first coach is still in law
I
enforcement.
do it all the time.
And I can't believe that doesn't get me. I love my gym, and no disclaimer, my gym is awesome. I just don't see that point where coaches have said, but because you do it for, hey, advanced guys, you're also going to do this, right? Like, hey, white belts and blue belts do this. More advanced guys, hey, you can also do this here. LEO guys, look, I'm like, why isn't that happening? At least in the schools that I've trained.
Exactly. I know your instructor. We used to train together.
Yeah.
And okay, some of the positions that were taught yesterday, you can definitely use on your civilian world.
Yeah.
It's nothing crazy.
Yeah.
But they're effective as you.
Yeah. I saw it yesterday. I mean, again, when I came today, I was telling Bo, I'm like, I see, in my mind, there are 3 jiu-jitsus now. And correct me if I'm wrong. You have the sport jiu-jitsu. You have the self-defense style, maybe like a little bit of the older Gracie style where they're kind of throwing strikes and show you how to do different things. And this is, I think, its own style of jiu-jitsu, jiu-jitsu for law enforcement. Am I wrong? Are there more? Right? In the self-defense style, I would include kind of like the MMA style maybe in there. Maybe that's number 4. But there are these different jiu-jitsus, and jiu-jitsu for law enforcement is extremely unique, right or wrong.
The basics are the same. You have to have a solid basics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to have a decent basic skill set. So that's why, as Freddy and I, we talk all the time, just to do one seminar is not going to help you grasp the ground game that you need or the takedowns that you need to succeed in law enforcement or on your civilian world. So you need the basics.
Yeah.
You guys need to understand one thing. Don't think just in law enforcement, but as a regular civilian as well. If you get into a fight on the streets, it's totally different than you inside the gym. You have to put pressure, stay on top, and control. Agree, Fred?
Yes, there's still a lot of variables to that one, but in general, yes. If you're dealing with one person, that's fine. If you're dealing with multiple opponents, then it changes things a bit.
Yeah.
See, I'm always, man, I really
I
think
agree.
outside the box a lot.
If I'm getting into a fight, my coach jokes about this. He's like, if I'm in aisle 9 of Publix and I'm getting into a scrap with somebody, he'll always joke, I'm fighting with some old lady over the last jar of peanut butter. He'll say something crazy like that, but it's relevant. He's making a point. He's just like, I'm not doing the same thing that I'm going to do on the mat here. Like we're not scoring points, right? There's a couple that either I've got to choke this person out to stop to save myself, or to be able to get away from them. The idea is to get home, like you guys said, for law enforcement, right? The idea is to be able to get home at night, right? How did you say it yesterday? Your number one mission as a law enforcement officer is to do what?
Go home.
And everybody says to get home, right? If I'm in a fight, if I happen to find myself in a scrap out on the street, like I want to get home too. What's my path of least resistance. Am I going to try to break an arm? Am I going to try to use a cuffing position, or am I going to try to choke that guy out? For me, I'm going to try to get to a choking position. He's passed out and I'm leaving. I mean, for me, as a non-LEO, if I'm getting into a scrap with somebody, I don't want to just break an arm because that person can still be, can still have a knife, could still pull a firearm, right? I want to choke them out. That, for me. Again, lots of variables. I could see your mind already going, Freddie, right? You're like, man. I mean, there's a million variables. But in that situation, a guy like me, I go run and get my wife some ice cream.
I overthink things.
I get into a scrap with somebody. My mission is to get home. And if I do have to engage with somebody, my mission is going to be not to do an arm bar in a parking lot, but I'm going to try to choke that person out and then get to safety, call the police, what have you.
Okay, a lot of people don't know this about me. My dad is American. My mom is from Brazil. I was born in Brazil. And growing up there, you get into a lot of fights, high school, college, whatever. So I got into fights that I'll never do that again today. You know what I mean?
What do you mean? What you did in the fight?
No, getting positions.
Okay.
Back then, today's I have a different mentality because when I start training with with the edge weapons and dummy guns, Sims. I'm not gonna lie, man. I was a totally different.
You
game.
didn't know what you didn't know.
Yes,
right?
And today I'll be more careful with the hands, controlling the hands. I want to control the hands all the time. I don't want to see this guy reaching for anything around his waist. You know what I mean? So that will be my only concern today. For instance, I just saw a video on Instagram that I believe he trains jiu-jitsu. He gives a beautiful takedown and he puts this guy on the arm lock. So the guy grabs a knife inside to stab him. Boom, 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 boom. I'm like, holy shit.
So, right? I mean, what should he have done?
Man, he got on top position. He was fine there. I know some people. Freddy, he loves to control. Freddy and Marcelo, he loves to control people from the top. Okay. I like to be on inside control, putting pressure and controlling the elbows and controlling the arms. If that guy he landed on top mount, I would stay controlling the arms because I didn't know the knife was behind him, right? So control the arms, try to hold the situation until you fight his will to fight. Then, bro, that's it. Call it the day.
And let me say too, because people that are listening that don't know you guys, who haven't listened to the Freddy episodes, talk to us about your rank and how long you've been training. Your jiu-jitsu rank.
My jiu-jitsu rank.
And you could also talk about your department rank as well.
Oh boy. Well, I got my black belt in 2008, and that was quite a while ago. So if you look in terms of stripes per the black belt receives a stripe every 3 years.
Was it like the first 3 is 3 years and then it goes to 5
I have no
after
idea
the first 3?
where I'm at because I don't.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I don't even wear stripes on my black belt because, to me, I just want to portray the image of it's just about learning and becoming better and better. And my focus is not my belt. I don't care the color of my belt. I really don't.
Do you do stripes for students?
Honest to God knows that I don't care about my stripes.
Yeah.
And I probably have 2 or 3, supposed to have 2 or 3, but I don't care.
Okay.
Because I know I'm getting better. And my focus now is to make my students or anybody that listens to my instructions much better.
So black belt in 2008.
Yes.
That's been a black belt for approximately 15 years. Okay.
Somewhat like that.
That's a long time.
Brenin?
I started funny story. I started jiu-jitsu in Brazil. I was 10 to 12 years old. I went to a gym and I saw this girl training. She was a blue belt. I think it was 12 years old. And I told my instructor, I'm like, hey, if I make her a tap, would you give me a blue belt? Say, yeah, go ahead. It was the dumbest shit. You know what I mean? I learned early.
Wow.
So,
nice job, Brennan.
Yeah,
I,
and he's
at 12 years old, though, right?
Oh,
like girls are a little bit more advanced, but at 12 years old, you're still like
I'm like, wow.
you're both just kids. Is not this point yet where you're that much stronger
yeah.
than a female.
And she puts me on the triangle like in seconds. And
Good for her.
and the collar bells like put him to sleep, put him to sleep, put him to sleep. And luckily she let me go. I remember her name until today. Her name is Niani.
Do you know she still trains? Do you know like?
I don't think she trains today, but I don't talk to her for a long time. So then I moved. I started training with Brazilian top team, but it took me 18 years to get my black belt because I moved to another location. I started training with a new instructor, and he just want to make sure that I deserve the black belt before he handed it to me.
The move, like
I got
the curse of moving when you're doing jiu-jitsu, you know.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of things being a black
Starting
belt.
over.
You know what I mean? You just don't hand black belts.
Yeah.
At least where I came from.
Yeah.
You know.
So what?
gotta-
Do you remember what year you got your black belt?
2018.
2018. Okay. All right. So 5 years, approximately 5 years as a black belt.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get Freddie. You wanted to say
Yeah, I wanted to get back to that earlier question you mentioned about the three forms of training.
Yeah,
You said the
types of
sport.
jiu-jitsu, yeah.
You had the sport, the self-defense, and more MMA-ish type.
Well, law enforcement. So,
Yeah. The law
I mean,
enforcement.
maybe there is four because I'm including MMA in self-defense, but maybe that is four.
Right. I would say that the MMA is self-defense.
Okay, I was putting it in. That was
Because if
I
you
put those
really
together.
think about, let's break this down about what this self-defense is,
Mhm.
because some of these places are saying, "Oh, we teach self-defense." Some places we just teach jiu-jitsu. It's still just all jiu-jitsu. And guys, I came from both lines. I came from a side that they claim to be just all self-defense. I'm no longer with them. Now I've ventured out into the world on my own, and I'm under Tom DeBlas right now. So I've seen a whole other world of jiu-jitsu, and I can sit back and I'm like, it's the same thing. It's the same thing, except one side tends to call it a certain program, combatives or fundamentals. Other schools may not necessarily teach those fundamental techniques, but that doesn't mean they're not practicing a defense for those techniques.
okay.
So when you have a room full of people and we're practicing clinch defenses like most academies do, well, that's a self-defense right there, because you're learning how to defend. Somebody's gripping you from the front, from the back, from wherever, and you eventually get out because you're doing this against equally other people, that are as skilled as jiu-jitsu, and you're able to defend yourself. How is that guy in the street that's never done this ever in his life, how is he going to properly hold you that you won't be able to escape? I'll ask that. And there is everybody could escape in general. When you go to an MMA school, and this is why I brought up MMA, you go to a MMA, if they practice striking, if they have a wrestling program, for example, and they have a jiu-jitsu program, that covers all the forms of self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
Covers everything.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're practicing that wherever you're at, you are practicing your jiu-jitsu. You may not know that one defense that we teach in this program over here, but your defense is going to work just as equally as mine is going to work.
Sure.
So that's where coming from that side, and I'm telling you right now, there is no difference. It's all the same. So it just so happens that, some people really think that because that's the only environment they're in, that's the only environment that teaches that.
Yeah.
And that is so far from the truth.
Would you recommend to your students to be doing these type of seminars, to attend an LEO seminar? Because when I left, I went down to the Colombian restaurant and I had some lunch. Right in the shopping center, right?
Nice.
So I sat down and I posted and I said this. I wrote that this filled in some blanks for me. Those blanks being those little things like just what's the difference between what I do every day and what law enforcement's doing. And it was a short jump. Not that it wasn't a valuable, incredibly valuable
short.
jump.
Right.
It was a short jump. I'm like, I've never freaking, I've done every Kimura like this.
Right.
I've never done that transition and said, and sat on somebody's back because we're not, that's
We
not
don't
what we're
do that.
doing, right?
We don't
I'm not,
do that in
right.
jiu-jitsu.
It's break the arm, or obviously tap, but that tap signifies that would have been a break, right? And we stop and reset and we go again.
You
There
nailed
was-
it.
There was no final, okay, I'm moving the arms to put the handcuffs, or let me grab that other arm, right? Just the way that you taught us to grab the other arm, right? So, short leap. Would you recommend to your students, hey, you should go check out a seminar like this? To go ahead.
Yes and no. To be honest with you, not everybody's qualified to be teaching law enforcement.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, just because you received a black belt doesn't necessarily mean that you're justified to be teaching other cops, especially if you just got your black belt or you have just not really done a lot of serious police work.
Yeah.
If you've never put this practice to use, then your value is not really as impactful as somebody that says, for me, for example, I did this throughout the 90s and the early 2000s. I had a field to practice this with on everybody. And I honestly, I
don't want to say the camera thing you said yesterday. I'll let you say that if you want to.
Yeah, we didn't have a camera. So I say it. We didn't have a camera, but at the same time, if you want to research it, you can go on file because it's public record and look at my use of force complaints. Very, very low. High numbers of arrest usually means that the officer gets a lot of complaints, a lot of use of force complaints
Yeah, those
as well.
two things usually for most officers are going to run in
Because
tandem.
you're anytime you make contact with the public, you're bound to create some complaints. Well, especially if you're going hands-on like I was. And you know what? I didn't have very little complaints because I wasn't using it to hurt people. I was using it to just do my job easier, safer for the bad guys. I took pride. I literally took pride in, especially when there was a big dude and he gets out of that stolen car and he's running. And I'm like, oh, I got him. I got him. Everybody step back. I got him. He's jumping fence. I even had the art of chasing you on foot at a scientific pace because I knew the first 100 yards, this guy's going, yes, he's
Lightning.
just jumping. It's parkour from yard to yard. And all I need to do is keep an eye on you. And as I keep an eye on you, the gap starts to shorten. And then by the time I'd get to the dude, he's tired.
Yeah.
Exhausted.
So the match is halfway done. Now, here's the flip side of it. If you're the officer, you got to be in shape.
Yeah.
Because if you're not in shape, you're going to be both, which happened one time.
You described my jiu-jitsu as a bigger guy, an older guy. When
But
I'm
you're
going
not a
against
cop.
these, I'm saying
Right.
that you just when you're saying that you kind of describe my jiu-jitsu with like the younger guys. They start out really tough. Maybe I get them into a lockdown. They start flailing and they start wasting
the
a lot of
half guard
energy.
for
and
the old man half guard.
Yeah. So
Got it.
So when they eventually wind up getting a little tired, and then you sweep them, and then they're like,
Right.
"How do you do?" I have expended almost zero energy while you've been flipping around like a fish out of water. But anyway, go ahead. Continue.
So no, that was fun. It was fun. Just take to see the look when yesterday you heard me mention when I was describing the mount control, and I mentioned that 90% of it was that. Once I get to the mount, it's over. It's over because he can't. I keep saying he, but it could be a she too. It could be a Gabby. Sorry, Gabby. I don't see you running from a stolen car.
We
but
lost
that's
all our
okay.
Gabby fans.
No, I'm just saying, when you mount them, they're going to try everything. And remember, they're running already on reserve energy because it took them several feet of running to get to that point. And then you take them down, mount them, and it's over, man. I mean, To see the look of confusion on someone's face, and I've seen it multiple times. It's hard to describe, but it's like they're looking at you, and you can see that little hamster stopped, and they can't figure out what it is that you're doing to them. The greatest comparison would be when you go with somebody that's new to jiu-jitsu. Remember when you were brand new, how everybody on the mats could basically destroy you. And you're like, what the hell are these people doing?
They look like babies.
That's exactly how it feels like. They're just looking at you at amazement.
Yeah.
And they have, it's hard to comprehend what you don't understand.
Yeah.
I was a detention officer in 2008. We had this, actually was my first time that I ever used jiu-jitsu at work. We sent this detainee to his dorm room, whatever you want to call it. And when I got to my area to work, another detainee complained, say, hey, man, my body, he's talking to the wall. I mean, what do you mean he's talking to the wall? He's talking to the wall. How am I going to describe that? So I called another officer. I went there. And he was literally talking to the wall. So I'm like, hey, man, let's go to the infirmary, this and that, Turn around. So when he's turning around, he smacked my lieutenant in the face. Pah! So I took him down. I mount him. He turned, and I got his back. And I started holding just his arms. And the other officers came. And so everyone that day wanted to train jiu-jitsu. They used to call me D, for my last name. Hey, D, I didn't know you're Superman. I'm like, I'm not a Superman. It was just like controlling, rolling.
It does feel like a superpower for us, though, sometimes.
But it does.
When you're in that position.
As Freddy said, it was just like rolling with a brand new student who never trained jiu-jitsu before.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, whoa.
Yeah.
And you do that so naturally because you already have the mobility and the agility because you've been training.
Yeah.
And happens to you so naturally, you know what I mean?
Muscle memory, that invisible jiu-jitsu that we hear about.
And that's possibly why we don't inflict so much damage, because we're so used to submitting each other in training. We know how far we could take a submission. So when you do it to somebody in the street, we know that, okay, they're done at this point. There's no sense. He may not know this, but I know that if I go further, I'm going to snap his arm or hurt him.
We did an episode right after George Floyd, right after that incident, and I actually named it "Knee on Neck Done Correctly." I was like, when I typed that in, I was like, "How is this going to sound?" But if you listen, knee on neck,
okay.
Because I've done it in training all of the time. I've done it knee on belly, knee on sternum, and a knee on somebody's neck. But I actually said when we were talking about it, I said I do this move all the time. I stopped doing it after that, just because guys were like, "Hey, how'd you do that?" And then it goes wrong. But I actually would say I'm putting my knee on most of my pressure is on the jawline of the face.
Right.
I'm not actually on. So I'm saying, when
Still
you have
hurts.
your knee on if you need to hold somebody down in that, it's more about holding down the face. If you're putting it on, what'd you say?
Still hurts.
It still hurts like a bitch. Yeah.
Ouch.
I'm
dirty.
more. It's about the control of the face, not trying to get somebody to pass out. I'm not trying to tap somebody out in that position. Most of the time, when I was doing it, it would be my knee
You're
was
not
along
trying
the
to tap him out?
jawline.
What are you trying to do?
Well, I'm saying I wouldn't do like a really hard knee on neck on somebody. It was usually I'm doing that to maybe further my control of another position, but I would hold their face down, but I would do it on the jawline.
Thank you to Feito IT and AV, specializing in commercial and residential automation, security cameras, CCTV, POS, and more. Check them out at feitoitav.com or call 305-428-2515 and let them know the dummy sent you. Jiu-Jitsu's favorite monthly subscription box has now joined the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast. The BJJ box is delivered to your door filled with premium jiu-jitsu and grappling apparel, equipment, supplements, supplies, snacks, and more. The crew at the BJJ box find the best in the world of jiu-jitsu and guarantee every box to be worth more than the cost. Each box includes 4 to 7 items you're going to love. Visit thebjjbox.com and use code JJD10 to get $10 off your very first box. And give them a follow on Instagram at the BJJ Box. Neutral Zone is combat family owned, so they know you need to keep yourself and your equipment clean. They created Neutral Zone Clean wipes and sprays for just that purpose. Neutral Zone products are formulated to reduce the risk of bacterial and fungal infections. Whatever's making you sweat, weight training, rolling on the mats, yard work, or just working around the house, Neutral Zone Clean wipes and sprays can make you feel and smell refreshed. Use code JJD to get 15% off your online order at neutralzoneclean.com. While you're there, sign up for their newsletter to receive the latest info and updates on product launches like their new shower gel and soap bar coming soon. Are you Neutral Zone Clean? Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and while you're there, pick up a Jiu-Jitsu Dummy signature tee exclusively at flowandroll.com. And remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
We talked about that a lot, but at the end of the day, I do want to ask this question. So, okay, we understand jiu-jitsu here. For those guys that were, what's next for those guys that were at the seminar yesterday?
If they don't train, sign up immediately to a BJJ gym.
Yeah, right.
ASAP.
Yeah.
So they can have the mobility, then the agility, and so they coordinate the body so they can do the positions right.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe that if I send out a white belt to a BJJ course and then he comes back, he's going to teach my students. Okay. I know Freddy.
That goes back to what we were talking about.
I know Freddy well, and I know his students well. He got some badass students. I don't believe him as an instructor will trust a student that it is a white belt, goes to a seminar at, I'm just going to say Rickson Gracie, okay? Nothing against Rickson. I love him. Go to Rickson Gracie seminar for a week, comes back with a paper that said that he's an instructor. And now Fred is going to trust his entire gym under this white belt instructor to teach.
Well, no, not necessarily like that. But if I have a student that already trains with me and he wants to participate, hey, knowledge is power. Yeah. By all means. Just like if one of my students wants to go to another police seminar, do it. Do it. But like everything else we do in jiu-jitsu, take what you feel that works for you, and whatever you don't like, don't have to use it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're pretty unison on that for everything. Yeah. Not everything that you've been taught. That's no disrespect to your instructors, but not everything you've been taught, you're going to, okay, that's a nice move. It's not really for me.
Yeah.
We move on. I mean, it's the same thing with our students taking other classes. Now, going back to the one question that you mentioned earlier, because we didn't quite finish it on just because they're black belts. I meant to say, I'm not saying that all black belts are not good instructors. It takes a lot of discipline, sacrifice, dedication to make it to rank. So we all know they have the discipline. I'm referring to, there's more to it than just teaching them self-defense. You have to look at what they're allowed to do, what they're not allowed to do, their policy, departmental policy. And then I like to take it a step further, because I've been actually on the stand when I've been grilled torn apart by attorneys, and they are savages. So I kind of know what they're going to. Yeah. Some of them can be.
Oh man, I have a story.
So I'm just saying, I kind of anticipate a lot of their arguments in a lot of the moves that I'm teaching. So I that's where I get my experience. I've been burned enough to know what's going to happen if we do this or this, or we fail to do this or this.
We talked about that before. Look, it happened to me. I went to an agency to teach a seminar, and the entire legal team showed up, and I asked the guy, "Yo,
all these attorneys?
Yo, man, what is it? I mean, what's going on? Oh, they from the legal team. That's the major. Blah blah blah." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I taught my seminar. I was tight, and I taught my seminar. I was politically correct. In the end of the seminar, they said, "Oh, they want to talk to you." I'm like, "Oh, what did I do?" So I went and talked to them, and they were like, "Hey, whatever you're doing here, please come back next week and teach my entire correction facility."
Oh, wow.
I'm like, wow. I'm like, I thought you guys gonna,
I mean, well, I think now,
But you're 100% right. You have to be very careful what you teach, what you say in these seminars.
Yeah. Well, let's go to that point. So certain departments, I don't know them all, but certain departments, New York, I think, you can't choke.
Can't do anything.
You can't put like neon sternum. You can't put neon sternum or neon back,
Those
right?
poor guys.
You can't. Yeah, it's like they've taken away.
New York, get it together.
Yeah, I
100%.
Well, there you go. I was going to say, what do you say to these department heads that they don't realize that they're taking some of the most valuable tools away that are going to lead to a place with fewer complaints, fewer actual injuries. They're taking away all of their weapons, and I just think that it's there are uneducated people, uneducated in our world, obviously, uneducated people making these decisions.
How many weapons are we going to keep giving our officers so that they don't have to go hands-on? How many? The taser, baton. I mean, this has been going on for years. Started with the baton, then the ASP, then now the taser.
The net.
I mean, how many more instruments are you giving them?
What was the little thing?
Give them a bolo.
Rubbery.
Yeah.
What was it? It was they used to
them
hit
a
somebody on the head.
That's the boomerang now.
A blackjack. Is that I think he called it a blackjack.
It could
Maybe?
be whatever they call it. But that was a useless thing. People think that hurts people. No, that doesn't hurt people. That just pisses people off, and it causes them to fight more.
Yeah,
that's all that does. Yeah. I refuse to carry all that stuff. So here's my point: is the more tools you're giving these officers, and if those tools fail, then they have no proper training in hands-on, so they're more likely to resort to deadly force because they can't handle it. They've exhumed all their tools that they used to control that one person, and now they're faced with a panic situation where they have no more tools. Their last resort is their weapon. And you see what happens in the news. These guys are shooting people when they shouldn't have had to in some cases. Not all of them.
In a continuing education scenario, is there even... or even when you're first getting on the force, is there really a lot or enough taught about de-escalation? Using your words, right?
No,
We teach little kids,
lot.
use your words for is that done in the academy?
Yes.
And in a continuing education
Verbal
scenario?
judo. Yes.
Yes?
It's
Okay.
done.
It's done, but it's very basic.
Even that, is that, again, something in the continuing education scenario where you're learning a little bit more? Like, I practice jiu-jitsu to get good at something. If I'm out for a week, sometimes I go back and I feel that there's like, some bugs. I feel like, okay, I got to get back into this again. If I go a year without hearing some of those same things that I'm supposed to be doing as a police officer, doesn't the average person forget even the non-physical things? Again, like de-escalation with talking to somebody. Do you really go through like those scenarios? Just like we're training and I'm practicing my jiu-jitsu on. Do you practice how you would speak to a perpetrator or a suspect?
We do. We have early in-service training, but some departments
You're not
are 2
in your head.
days.
It's just obviously not
Some
enough.
departments are just 8 hours.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's very limited. That's why if you a law enforcement officer, you should seek outside training. We have many sources today. Luckily, we have internet, and Freddy is one of them here in Miami. Is highly recommended. We have many departments right now introducing jiu-jitsu, straight up jiu-jitsu. Just you go there, train with gi, and you got your belts. Shout out to Jacksonville Sheriff's Department. They have a lot of guys there pushing BJJ to the offices. I believe it's free. They come in, they train. Gabe Rose.
Sorry.
What'd you say?
That doesn't work.
What?
That free training.
The free training
Come
don't work.
do it on the job.
They offer.
What's free seems to lose its value.
Well, I think doesn't it go back to who's teaching those classes?
Yeah,
That's a big part. Who's teaching, what they're teaching, and how they're teaching.
Right. So these guys former SWAT. I'll mention some names here. That guys that I really think that they're doing a good job. Gabe Rose, Lieutenant Ramage, Tony Batros, Marcelo Burgo, and so on. The list goes on. So in Jacksonville, they have very, very good instructors. I teach as well. I graduated 6 police officers so far. 5 to a blue belt, 1 to a brown. And these guys, they not only use jiu-jitsu on the job, but they competed in BJJ tournaments. Okay, so I think the sauce right now is everywhere you go, you have a cop who's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. But then again,
but that black belt, I think that black belt, we were kind of saying this before, that black belt doesn't automatically mean good teacher.
No.
Right. I mean, those two do not go hand in hand, and we see that with a lot of jiu-jitsu.
Right.
I'm on the cusp of the black belt.
You're 100% right.
My jiu-jitsu isn't about me teaching. I taught at a very early stage, white and blue, with my first coach. I would help out, and I say that my jiu-jitsu was my technical jiu-jitsu on the basics was better than it is now because I was doing it every single day and teaching it to other people. That at that point I'd probably be a better coach than I could be now, but just because I'm on that cusp does not mean that I'm also a good teacher. I like sharing information or teaching little details, but I can't teach it the way I see my professors and coaches teach it.
Fred is a great instructor. He goes a lot on details. I know MMA fighters, like famous MMA fighters, that ask them to teach a class. They're too advanced. They don't, and I believe, I'm a firm believer that you got to stick with the basics.
Yeah.
Basics. And it's hard to find the good instructors that, preach basics.
So, Freddie, you disagreed with him about when he was talking about the Jacksonville, and we'll say props to them for getting something started, but you didn't agree with, like, just the on-the-job go in. You kind of nodded your head before.
I was just saying that I see so many places and they act like they invented something new. We've been doing this since the early 2000s, promoting free training, and it just doesn't work. Very few come in. If you have a 3,000-man department, and I had a 3,000-man department, maybe 5 people would show up.
That's what I was going to ask you. What doesn't work? Is getting them to show
1%,
or the actual jiu-jitsu?
Man.
You're not saying the actual jiu-jitsu works or doesn't work. You're saying just getting the officers in.
But to be fair, that was because I was fighting the culture, which is still present today, but it is much better today. See, this is what happened. And I actually thought about this yesterday as I was walking my dog. I'm a dog lover here. I was walking my dog, and I'm like, how did I affect change from the top? Me being part of a group, because when we first started jiu-jitsu, nobody knew about jiu-jitsu. So how hard is it to reach the hierarchy of a department? The brass, the commanders, all the way up to the top. How do you get to the top? How do you get this information to the top? Because as an officer, I can't just walk into the chief's office. Chief, I recommend we start doing jiu-jitsu for everyone. He's going to look at me. What the hell is that? Number one.
Trillo. Where are you supposed to be?
And pack your stuff and leave now. So, but do you know how we did it? Was that jiu-jitsu, the few people that were teaching jiu-jitsu, it started mushrooming. And then after a certain couple of years, those officers start getting hired. And so you start to get officers with some jiu-jitsu training. And then throughout the course of these years, these officers were able to rise up in the ranks, and they know the value of jiu-jitsu, and they were able to start implementing small pieces of jiu-jitsu into their training. And so that's where it started to change the culture. That's probably why I didn't have so many people, because most people, what is jiu-jitsu? Why do I have to do jiu-jitsu? I can just taser you, or I just hit you with the baton. That's the general mindset that was instilled in training that we are trying desperately to change. We need to get rid of that old style 1970s junk that they've been teaching law enforcement. Junk, flat out junk across the entire nation. It's just flat out garbage. That's one of the reasons why I left the training unit for the department I work for, a 3,000 man department, and I refused to do it. Sorry to switch topics here.
No, go ahead.
It was only because I refused. I go, I'm a jiu-jitsu black belt, and you brought me here to help teach jiu-jitsu to the students, but you don't want me to teach my jiu-jitsu. You want me to teach the jiu-jitsu that the state wants me to teach. I go, that's garbage. I wouldn't teach this to anyone. Why am I teaching this
Are you no
to law
longer
enforcement?
teaching with
No,
City of Miami?
No, I still do my seminars and all that. I'm saying I left that role as a defensive tactics instructor because I refused to teach.
This was a little bit more back in the day when you were on the job. Okay.
Yes, and they didn't want to hear it.
Since you've retired,
I'm still reserved, but I'm retired from full-time work.
So you still are involved with teaching jiu-jitsu?
Big time.
And how does that work? They bring you into a class of new officers who are in the academy? Is that when are you getting involved, or is it on a continuing education basis?
Most departments will hire me to teach seminars for them.
Okay.
But most of it, I have that reputation as a jiu-jitsu cop down here, so I have a lot of cops that train with me.
Okay.
And going back to what you had mentioned earlier with the different forms of jiu-jitsu, you said, well, you asked me if I recommended my students attend seminars, and I'm like, you can if you like to. To be honest with you, you don't really need to if you already train with me. Because everything I'm teaching you in these seminars, I'm teaching you in class.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was actually yesterday, one of the guys that trains with me regularly, he's a cop and he attended the seminar. He goes, Sensei, you were right. Everything you're teaching here, you've taught in class numerous times. Yeah. I go, all my students, all my cops know all of this. Yeah. So it's like you said in class, my sport guys, you guys that like to compete a little bit more, here's a little extra stuff you could do on this move.
Right.
Yeah. My cops, if you already know how to do the kimura. We locked you up here. But think about it. We got to handcuff them, right? All you got to do is maneuver their hands to the lower part.
Yeah. I think it's, I obviously follow your page. I think it was something you posted. It may be something you posted. There is a man and a woman in a car watching a female officer try to take somebody down. Have you seen this yet? She's trying to take somebody down the lunch. Yeah, I just saw it today, just this morning. Female cop trying to take down a bigger man, and there's somebody in the car, and he's saying, "Honey, I'm gonna," and she's like, "No, don't you go get involved." And he's like, "Honey, I gotta go help her."
I seen that one.
And he gets out of the car, and she's filming from in the car.
And he helped the female officer.
Yeah, he helped the female officer. In my mind, okay, like that's a scenario that, okay, now I know jiu-jitsu, and I probably would help anyway. Now I know how to help. I'm not saying that that's why you should do it, but now I feel like, again, blanks were filled in. I didn't know, this is how you reach for the arm, and the way that you taught to take it, and I never did something like that before. So I think that's incredibly helpful. But going, again, we're talking about sending the students. For people that don't train with you, that are listening in other parts of the country, I do believe, and I would preach that any seminar, I think, it used to be the Coreon, don't go to another gym and don't train with anybody else. In or outside of law enforcement, a seminar for law enforcement, or just a seminar on leg lock, I think it's incredibly valuable to go to these other places and just get a different insight. I know over my training, my tenure in training, I've been able to have different coaches. I have different coaches teaching the exact same thing and I'll get a little nugget. I'm like, oh, like I'm very into like, where's my foot? Where's my other hand? Where the hand that's not doing something? Where is that? Is it on the mat? I love in my own, Felipe and Sophia in my own gym. Felipe is typically more the head instructor. Sophia actually does like her own women's classes now. But when we're together and like maybe Felipe's away and she does the class where she'll be teaching the same thing and she'll just show it little things differently that she does because of her size, her body type. And I love those classes. So that's why I don't do a ton of seminars. This was one of the first ones. I like to get that from other people. And I'm very lucky that we do have we do open mats on the weekend. So we do have a lot of black belts that come in and they might show something different, Sure. So go ahead. So we're diving back in.
I wanted to get back at what you had mentioned with the recording. I believe that video was just posted. I saw it this morning. Tom LeBlanc, I believe, posted that video. But see, what I took from that video was, everyone sees the self-defense. I mean, that the guy went out and helped. But what I saw instead was what's happening in society today. Somebody was recording, and somebody wanted to help. Somebody only wanted to record. Somebody wanted to help. And that was so encouraging that this man decided to take upon himself to go out and actually help.
Right.
I'll say that it was probably his wife, and she's telling him not to.
But that's exactly what's happening in society. People are just so quick to pull out a phone and watch a tragedy occur. And I don't want to cause a domestic between these people. I'm sorry.
I would expect that my wife would not get out of the car. I'd be actually...
That was good with her
I would actually be saying, like, I don't know, again now, understanding, especially like yesterday, was it, I think, your story where you're saying the story that you tell about how you got into jiu-jitsu and the fight that you got into as a rookie, where you hadn't even called it in yet. So now, after the seminar, I'm thinking, okay, she's trying to... Has she called it in? Is anybody coming? So now my default would be, not only am I going to help, honey, call 911. Let them know where we are. I've got to go help this person. If I'm in that scenario, I would also now introduce that part. Like, don't assume because the cop is here already that the cavalry's on its way. We don't know, right? The cavalry was not on its way, and it took other people to call. And if you want to hear the full story, you can go back to both of the episodes. Right. Just Google Freddy Trillo, Jiu-Jitsu Dummies, and you can listen to both of those podcasts. Right? We don't know that who's on their way, so that would be my default based on your seeing a video like that. Based on what you said yesterday, I would say number one, make sure somebody. If I'm by myself, I might have to call 911 and help. I got to figure that. And a part of that, I want to ask, how do I, as a civilian, what do I do to approach a situation like that? Because she doesn't know who I am. And
right. I was going to add that
adrenaline's
too.
going. She doesn't know that I'm not with him. Yeah. How do I introduce myself or anybody introduce themselves into that situation as a bystander trying to help a cop?
You have to be very careful how you're going to intervene because you don't know if the guy is armed, the suspect is armed. And in that case, the particular case, the guy, I believe that the guy saved the female officer. You know what I mean? Because the suspect was much...
It was bigger. I don't know if he was armed. I don't know the story beyond that.
So he come in and helped. But you got to be very careful how you intervene, Ask, can I help? Do you need help?
I hope Tom or Henner... I know there's all this controversy right now, but all these people that say, find that person and I'm going to give them some free jiu-jitsu. I don't know if she was trained. She didn't look like she was trained in jiu-jitsu, but I hope that somebody's reaching out to her to offer her some free jiu-jitsu classes like I've seen before.
Right.
I'm sure she's going to get plenty of attention now.
Yeah. It amazing. What do you tell? I cannot fathom being a police officer today and going out and not knowing that this thing exists, because cops know that this exists now. This isn't like, oh, what's jiu-jitsu? What is that? The UFC is too popular. There's the internet, Instagram, people trying to further this, trying to get people to train more in the combatives. I cannot fathom being an officer today and not doing this, not only for my own safety, but the safety of the people around me. How is somebody, when I see that cop with the big gut, the thing, the belt, the gun's all the way down here because the belt is under the gut, I'm like, what is? I mean, maybe he's sitting behind a desk and that's fine. I can't understand why people aren't staying in shape and aren't seeking out jiu-jitsu training.
Well, it looks like it's, if I can, it looks like it's this know-nothing bureaucrats making all these decisions
we
for
said that
them.
before,
No, but I'm saying that's actually super important. And like Freddie said, that 70s bullshit has to go. And so it looks like there's an evolution happening now.
There is.
The more guys like you that are doing this for police officers, those bureaucrats are not going to have a choice anymore but to go along with it. And they're going to start to realize that benefit, seeing that there's less complaints. It's like, so
Yeah.
it's the bureaucrats. They do this with everything
I was gonna
else,
say
too.
something here too. Don't think like just you're a law enforcement. How about the civilians too? This is we live in a crazy world out there.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
You're not a cop, but you keep yourself in shape.
Yeah.
Milton,
a lot of burgers.
Milton is a
I've been
brown
trying to
belt
get
in
this-
jiu-jitsu.
I've been
Who
trying to
cares?
get this guy on the mat. I'm like, listen, just come to my house. We'd show you some moves. Let me show you some basics.
Look,
No.
He's the gadget
look.
guy.
I know cops. I know cops that they don't carry off duty, and I know civilians that they don't leave their house
without
a weapon.
Yeah.
I know cops that they don't train jiu-jitsu. I know civilians that are very, very good in jiu-jitsu and other martial arts. So there's a balance there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know cops that they hate guns. They don't carry a weapon.
I never leave my
Off
home
duty.
without rage.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
I just have my rage on hold. No,
Bo has told us, and I love you,
I'm the
Bo. No
biggest
disrespect to
pacifist in the
Bo.
world, too.
Bo. We were doing a podcast one time. I don't know that I've ever really said this to him, but Bo was the, I see red guy. Come on, train jiu-jitsu. He's like, no, I don't need it. I see red, I go crazy. It's a common thing in our world.
Well, no. I said I'm hands. I know how to hit really good.
But when you're not practicing it,
I'm
when
the
you're not
one-
doing it all of the time,
how do you know I don't practice strikes?
because I know you don't practice striking because you never talk about it or ever
I
say
don't
that you
talk.
practice striking.
I practice
Yeah,
my strikes.
no, you don't.
Yeah,
Well, where?
I can.
Who do you train
punch
with?
through concrete, man.
Yeah. Okay. See, right.
Oh, boy.
You've probably. Yeah. Right. Look, I'll say on my about
Yeah,
myself.
I see it.
When I first started jiu-jitsu, I started with a law enforcement officer. It was a brand new gym. I was his second student because he had a friend's wife that quit. But I was his first real student, his first blue belt under his own. He had gotten his black belt, opened this academy, and I remember he was like, "Okay, we're gonna what do you know?" Like, I wrestled a little in high school, and I remember including in that, besides like hitting the bag and doing some physical fitness stuff and some gyms, I said to him, and I watch a lot of UFC, and and he just smiled. And at the time, I was just like, well, like I'm seeing it all the time, so I know what you're about to teach me. And no, it wasn't anything like that. Like he smiled because I sounded like an idiot. But I know, you guys hear it all the time. Like, oh, no, I know how to take care of myself. But do you really? When was the last time you actually trained or got into a fight?
Oh, you have
or
guys.
tested yourself? You really don't. And you don't know. We said this before.
I took
you don't
karate
know
in
what
high
you
school
don't know.
when I was in high school.
When was the last time you took a karate class?
That was like before junior high
Okay,
school.
so
Was this the
I'll let-
70s?
Yeah.
Is this the era we're referring to?
Oh, we had.
It's like anything, though. If you're not practicing it right, as a gym owner and instructor,
Jaramillo,
that even
remember?
somebody who's come in,
I went to the same school Jaramillo went
Yeah,
to, the
okay.
karate school. We
So,
were both babies. Like
you know that if you're not practicing it and training it, you forget. You don't. The skill set isn't there. It's something that you do have to train on. Yes or no? As instructors and gym owners.
One day, Freddy said something online, and that totally agreed with him. Hey, man, you quit that 1 week train. I mean, there's people that just. I'm talking about like in general here. There's people that go to jiu-jitsu only 1 week. Sometimes I understand if you have to work hard and you don't have any time. That's just the day that you only have to train. Okay, good.
Yeah.
But if you have the time and you're one of those students that only show up to the gym once a week, but you have the time, quit that life.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what I mean?
jiu-jitsu is kind of like you're all in or you're all out. It's either you love it, you hate it.
Yeah.
You're either going to train or you don't, because the person that trains for the week once a month or it comes every 3. I have them in my school. It happens, and sometimes it's life, and sometimes it's just the motivation to get off the couch.
Exactly.
But if you don't truly practice jiu-jitsu, if you're not
Motivation.
training, especially if you're new, this isn't I can go to the gym once a week kind of thing or once a month. You do have to get there often. You have to practice as
Milton,
trader. You're not going to get
we
good at it.
have in-house, we have, I believe, 20 to 30 black belts in-house.
In-house.
The gym that I train in Jacksonville, we have 20 to 30 in-house black belts plus the other black belts that we have outside. Sometimes I love gi. I train both, but I like gi, and I love the gi training at Brazilian Top Team at Jacksonville. So when I drive from my house to the gym, I'm like, today I'm going to get destroyed because I'm not feeling it. But I keep going. So when I got there, the vibe changed automatically.
You got destroyed.
I got destroyed regardless. You know what I mean?
It's that little guy.
But the vibes already changed. Yeah. The vibes already changed. I want to see everyone there. Hey, let's train, let's roll, and then
the days that I've gone to jiu-jitsu when I just really couldn't get up to do it, or a long day. Those sometimes I can remember some of those days as some of the best training I had.
Exactly.
And it absolutely cleared my mind. It was just like something just wiped everything away.
I needed this place. I need it.
I to this day I joke about this, but I do mean it. If my wife wants to have an argument with me, or she has to talk about something where she needs to get her way, or she's angry about something, the best time to talk to me about it is when I get home from jiu-jitsu. I am, everything is gone from the day. Everything has been washed away, all of my stress, and now go ahead, bring me the new stress, honey.
I believe,
but I'm going to be the most open to a conversation or to what she has to say at that moment.
I believe that in jiu-jitsu, to grasp, you really need to train with good level guys that put a lot of pressure on you, so you can learn how to defend yourself better. If you go into that Mickey Mousey jiu-jitsu, hey, grab my hair, grab my belt, you got to put in the work, man.
So like we said earlier, with the seminar itself, when I walked away from that, I didn't walk away from that going, I know everything that I need to do to be a law enforcement officer. That should be, more than anything, in my mind, should be a wake-up call to every person that was there who's not training already.
Exactly.
I didn't know.
That's what we preach.
There's so much more here that I'm not learning in my department, that I didn't learn in my academy, and things that I should know, and really, and even share, right? That should be the next step. That shouldn't be the end all be all.
And I tell people on our seminars, and Freddy said the same thing yesterday, and I repeat it. You're not gonna learn everything today, guys. This is we build the students to the drills that we have, and so they can realize if you don't train, you need training. And most of the seminars, we have black belts coming in, which is amazing. Not only black belts, but other levels. As you see, yesterday I believe 85% of the class already trained jiu-jitsu, which is amazing. You don't see that everywhere. When I go to California, it's the same thing. Boston's the same thing. Most cops there that attended the seminar, they all train jiu-jitsu.
You're starting to see more.
I think it's amazing, because now they can judge what you're teaching as well, right? When we left the seminar yesterday, I text Freddy, I've been getting a lot of good reviews, man, for the positions. My phone did not stop. This is good. So I just want to add one thing here too.
Glad they know your number.
No, actually, the DMs, man. If you send me a message and I take 2 days to reply, just I'll get to you when I get to you. But I want to talk about one thing, man. We have this instructor. He's a captain for the Brazilian Shock Police. He 25 years plus as a law enforcement officer, and
guy's solid.
The dude is like 50. He's getting his 5th degree now in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. But one thing that I met this guy before I met him.
So I thought when I got there, you're talking about Rodrigo.
Yeah, no, we already friends.
Yeah, I did. Okay,
we already friends.
I thought he was one of your family members, though. I thought,
no.
When I first walked in, because I know you have 10 law enforcement professionals in your entire family.
We talk about that. Yes, I
thought he was one of them.
So we're gonna get to that in a second, but so Rodrigo, I saw a random video on the internet that this dude was getting married on. He had his police uniform, like the Brazilian Class A, whatever, and was a bunch of specialized guys there. They are work together in his units, and so as he's getting married, they hear gunshots, pa pa pa, and then he stops. And then
these guys, the him and the people attending the wedding are the unit that they would call in, right? Basically,
exactly.
Right?
So
That's
check
what these
this
guys
out.
do,
So
right?
they hear gunshots, pa pa pa, and he was like, he looks at his bodies and he goes like this. Man, immediately he grabs his gun with his team. They went out.
John Wick comes out.
They went outside. Okay, there was, I believe, please don't quote me on that, but I believe there was some bad guys shooting at some patrol car. His team killed the bad guys. One got killed.
He said one got killed.
Yeah, one guy got killed.
2 arrested.
And 2 arrested. They ran back to the church, to the wedding, and got married like nothing was happening. And you see everything's on video, man. I'm like, damn, bro.
Wow.
And
Brazil.
that dude is a beast. You know what I mean? As he said yesterday on a seminar, you cannot just ignore the fact that you have a weapon on you. All the positions that you do, you need to protect that damn weapon, because in Brazil is different than here. Here, cops, they have more rights than a cop in Brazil. We're not going to get into that, but just quick. In Brazil, he said many times we go to call, and when you're just talking to a person, they just launch for your weapon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and it is sad because the cops in Brazil, they do a lot with very, very little, and they don't have the time to train. So even though that jiu-jitsu is very popular, you know, in Brazil, a lot of cops in Brazil don't train.
Wow.
But those that do, they badasses. We have an amazing seminar yesterday. I just want to I was very impressed with the turnout. A lot of people they had to cancel because due to work. They changed their schedule.
It was a packed house. Thank God there were more people there.
So as
I was happy with the number.
Yeah. It was.
I have
perfect.
some family members that came. You know, they're law enforcement here. We have so far we have 9. One is she's in academy. 2 are retired. They one is a chief. He sent some people, and he could not make it. But I was just happy with the outcome, man. And
so, as you mentioned that, what's changed? Like you said, you know, these guys are retiring. There were a few department heads. I don't want to quote it specifically, but there were some guys there that were higher ups in the departments who might. Are these people that did they specifically come to check it out to get a feel on, like, is this something that they should be implementing?
Hopefully.
Was it there for them? Were they there for themselves or both?
The fact that they were even there is a positive.
It's a step in the right direction, right?
Because we didn't do anything bad. We showed all positive techniques.
Exactly.
Did I show any violence in that? Did
you see
entire
anything?
seminar?
No, we didn't.
I wasn't teaching violence.
Other than the one drill we did where the perpetrator would be the aggressor trying to go after something. Everything that you taught us was de-escalation and control.
Which goes back to what he had mentioned earlier in the podcast when you were referring to that you had all these department heads, the legal,
the attorneys,
the legal attorneys, the legal team.
Well, kind of the same thing happens with me whenever I'm present myself to an academy, to a police. What are you going to teach? I go, I'm teaching self-defense. Okay, what kind of striking are you teaching? I go, I'm not teaching any striking.
What?
It's almost like the mom who's calling and saying they like, or just in general, the public, they call what we do karate. They just don't know. They're uneducated. They don't truly know the difference in what we do versus maybe UFC. Right? They're here. They MMA and UFC. Truly, they just don't understand. It's an educational thing.
Was like, I don't teach any striking. What about the punching and the kicking? Is not necessary. I can teach your officers how to take someone down, completely neutralize them, which is going to reduce injuries to the officers. It's going to reduce injuries to the subjects. It's going to lower your incidence of use of force, your complaints, and your department is going to look better in the community. You're working with your officers and your community to make, policing safer for everyone. So it's a win-win. So I back them into a corner because I'm not teaching any violence. And that's exactly what jiu-jitsu is. If taught correctly, you can completely neutralize. You guys know this, and this is why we're slowly changing the culture. Going back to what you had mentioned of officers being overweight or what have you. Well, we have to change the culture.
We have to.
And it is changing.
Shouldn't you have to?
Not as fast as we want to, but it's changing.
It's changing because right now we have a lot of officers. They are promoting jiu-jitsu. We have a lot of groups out there teaching jiu-jitsu. Going back to seminars, right? I believe that officers, they should take seminars, just like I love to take jiu-jitsu seminars. My last seminar was with Royler Gracie. Man, that man is a beast. And to me, in my opinion, he's one of the best Gracies because he's small, okay? And Royler was teaching like basics positions, but he was showing me details. And I'm like, wow. Yeah. I never catch that in my life, and I'm catching now. You know what I mean? So that's why if I go to any seminar, I'm going to see positions that is not going to work for me, but I'm going to see positions that I really like. So I keep both. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I keep, and the positions that I don't like, I try to transition to my style of jiu-jitsu. So it's the same thing going to a law enforcement, ground control, whatever seminar. You go and pick what is best for you. But if you have jiu-jitsu training, you're going to have the mobility, the agility, so you can do the moves correctly and then tweak a little bit your style of jiu-jitsu like you did yesterday. I saw you, I think it was one of the Freddy's positions, and then you tweak a little bit and you got it.
There was a hybrid. There was a hybrid between you taught a move and then he showed his kind of version of that same move. And for me, his version fit me a little bit better because I'll just say for me, as a bigger guy, I'm looking for a path of least resistance. My cardio, I'm a 50-year-old. You look amazing, but how old are you, Freddie?
55.
55. It looks amazing. I look like this. I'm trying to get there, but my cardio isn't as good as I would like it to be. My strength is, I'm not as strong as some of these 25-year-olds that I'm up against.
100%.
And I found that the way that his was a little bit more direct for me, because I'm not looking to add anything else in that's not going to get me to the same place. But again, there's just like jiu-jitsu, there's a million different ways to do the same. I've never had two instructors teach me something exactly the same way. There's always been their slight little variation on it, and that's what I love about learning from different people.
That's the beauty, because from one position, that's 3,000 variations that you can show. But sometimes our time is very limited and we can only show certain stuff. But I believe yesterday, Fred and I, we covered like almost everything. The basics was there.
Yeah, it's great.
And
highly recommend anybody to go check you out at we'll have it on the screen as well, but it's BJJ.Cops.
The Instagram? BJJ.Cops. And the website's BJJCops.net. The website is not updated. We have over 25 instructors right now. Only the seminars in the store. You know what I mean? I have now a company like doing my website and manage my Instagram because it's just too much.
Yeah. We know somebody.
That's a good thing.
I know somebody.
We know somebody.
Hey, you wanna hear how we met? We started talking before, and then like BJJ Cops, I always like his program and stuff. And then I'm like, hey Milton, like I'm creating a page for sponsors. You know what I mean? You guys want to jump in, blah blah blah. And then, oh man, right now, since I just left my my full-time gig, it's a little bit harder, but I love what you do. Keep doing. I'm like, you know what, Milton? You just left your job. You're going to start your own program. I'm going to make a donation for you. Cool. Right, Milton?
He did.
And then I donate.
Nice. He sent me some donations on Venmo.
And then I sent some donations to him. I'm like, dude, I want you to succeed. I believe in what you do, and here's some donations. You know what I mean? Cool. So I was calling him to ask for.
And then he became actually like we do his graphics.
I would say we do the
graphics for a lot of the the seminars. So
Milton, he's been a right hand since since before.
Thank you, man.
Everything.
See, the
you know what I
audience
mean?
appreciate
can't
it.
see
We
it, but I'm double
Yeah.
shaka.
Shaka.
Double shaka.
Yeah, guys. So if you guys need any artwork or website designs, especially on Shopify, just the guy here.
So, Freddie, give us the location, give us your Instagram, and tell everybody where you are here in South Florida.
My Instagram, black belt badge.
You changed that.
I did.
You did.
I was surprised it was available. I'm
There
there.
you go.
I'm there guessing names. I'm like, that sounds like a cool name. Maybe they'll accept it. Boom! Nobody had it,
Yeah,
so
very
I
cool.
was like, I thought it was
Wow.
pretty cool.
That
I'm actually
is.
thinking of creating a logo or something for it.
Shh, don't give away your secret. No. I was gonna say don't give away your secrets.
Well, I mean,
Because somebody goes and pulls black belt dot bat. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
throw in the
yeah,
dot,
yeah.
and then
Copycats.
But
all
go ahead.
over
I'm
the
sorry.
place.
So black belt badge on Instagram, and then tell everybody you have also a page for the Trillo Academy, which is
Instagram also just has Trillo Academy.
okay.
Highly recommended. If you a police officer in the area, go train there. It's not.
Tell everybody where you're based. Where's your location?
It's in Miami Gardens. Do you want the whole address?
Yeah. Throw it in there. Go ahead. Yeah, we'll put it on the
Well,
screen.
We're gonna put it on the
Wait,
screen
wait.
anyway. too, so-
18400 Northwest 75 Place. It's on the 33015. It's in the Miami Gardens, just north of Miami Lakes. Those that are in the area in Miami are familiar with.
You-
Yeah,
I'm very
It's-
close to I-75.
Obviously we have exposure all over the world, but I can actually see like where on the sound where people listen to us, and it's like it spreads through the
Really?
country. But you can see where you get
You
the
can
most
pinpoint where your listeners
on the
are?
podcast. Yeah. I actually.
how cool.
It's funny because
Analytics.
I could see every country, and in the beginning it would be
really?
like, look, there are 3 people in Brazil like listen to the podcast. So it's based on your location and where you're downloading the
Cool.
podcast. That's just on the sound side, right? Because we're doing this is the YouTube, but we also put out the sound on on different places. So, yes, it's.
Just like
you know,
Shopify.
It's all over.
yeah.
But we have a huge exposure in Florida, obviously, because we're from here and we interview a lot of people here. So when you're saying give out the address, I'm like, especially in South, if it was like California, I wouldn't worry so much about the address because we have such a big
Because we really do have
audience
that
here.
50 mile
Yeah.
radius.
We have that big, that big following down here, so it's always good for people to know.
And
where
I'm
you are.
very happy that you guys enjoyed the seminar because a lot of the stuff I taught there, I had covered in the first BJJ Fanatics instructional that I did.
Mm-hmm.
But now on this new one that I created, there's a few things that we did in that class that goes into the new video that's going to come out hopefully in the next couple of weeks.
And I'm going to put the link in the description
Yes.
on YouTube and on the sound. It's different. I'll put the link to the first one for now.
do you
and then
remember?
we'll have to have the
do you
second one.
remember some of those the
a
single
body
legs
lock
and
stuff,
stuff
yeah.
like that?
Well,
Well,
when
a
you
lot of
talked
the
about that last time, you were talking a lot about the
a
body
lot of
lock.
the self-defense that I'm covering in this next instructional has all that in it.
Okay.
The defense is included with those 3 main takedowns.
Okay.
So I really just have it to those 3 ones, and I just let it grow from there and teach my classes from there because I like to teach stuff that's simple and efficient and that I can
Right.
get 90% of the people to start doing, as opposed to some techniques that take a little bit too long. If it takes too long to learn something, then it's not that simple. It's not that efficient.
So, did you look like you wanted to say something?
Yeah,
I was only going to wrap. I just want to say to
All right,
everybody, we were going to start to wrap. We could probably talk for another 2 hours. It is
Yeah.
Easter. We're filming on Easter Sunday. We all have families and things that we want to
He
get to,
has
so we're going to
risen.
cut it a little bit shorter than normal. But go ahead, Brennan. What
I
were you
bought
gonna
his.
say?
Actually, I just want to say that I bought his first version of the,
Thank you.
and I told him, hey man, I used some of your stuff and I modified some. You know what I mean? Like,
Support each other. Yeah.
That's
Take
it, man.
That's it.
and
That's why we put it out there.
I love his the way that he teaches. Rodrigo, he's one of big. He's one of he learned from he learned from Freddy while he was in Brazil. He said, "Hey man, I was watching your videos before I came to the United States."
They didn't even know each other, right? He's like watching the videos, and he's like, "Oh."
Yes, he told me that he
I was
had
watching
been
your
sharing
videos
my
in
videos out
Brazil,
there.
yeah.
I was like, really? You guys talking about me?
See?
Okay.
I don't know if
I
you
usually
like,
get that.
It's
Good
great.
and bad talk.
International recognition.
It's great to see where
Exactly.
I don't. Maybe YouTube does it. I don't know. Like show you where you're. The demographics of who's watching and where. Again, on the podcast side, the host that we use
I think they do. I think YouTube has an analytics
Does
you can watch.
Yeah, maybe I haven't gotten that far into the analytics.
Oh, actually, I do have my YouTube channel. If you just go on Trillo Academy, Trillo Jiu-Jitsu Academy on YouTube, I have a lot of videos, over 200 videos there.
Oh, nice.
But they're all mixed up. They're not everything is law enforcement. It's just it's all mixed because we teach everything.
So like you said, jiu-jitsu is jiu-jitsu.
Check out your
Jiu-jitsu is
YouTube,
jiu-jitsu.
your Instagram. Same thing. I'll have it on the screen as well. We've mentioned them already, but we'll put it on the screen. They'll be in the descriptions on the podcast. Again, in the spirit of letting everybody get to their families, did you have anything you wanted to add or any shout outs that you want to give?
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to the Flioa guys, Dave and Larry. They're doing an amazing job by pushing jiu-jitsu to the federal law enforcement offices. Next weekend, I'm gonna be in Ohio.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, man, Miamisburg. I'll be at the police department there with some good guys.
They can check out your Instagram and see basically all. I mean, we're doing a lot of the announcements for you. We do the graphics for you, so you're going all over. You've been into Massachusetts. You've been to Ohio, California. I mean, you're literally. There's no place that you wouldn't go for to do a traveling seminar. Correct?
Hey, man, I've been getting a lot of requests, but if I can't, it's just too many right now. Like this month, I'm busy every weekend. I have big plans here for the Miami, for the South Florida area. I've been getting a lot of reach. I'm gonna talk to Freddy off record because I need help.
Sure.
So if you're a BJJ black belt, solid.
Yeah. All right.
And
very cool. So again, Freddie, do you have anything you want to add? Anybody you want to say hello to?
I want to thank Brenin for allowing me to help teach in this the BJJ Cops.
My pleasure.
and thank you, Milton, for attending.
It was fun. I had a
And
good
for
time.
the podcast.
I'm
Man,
glad that you
together
made it.
we're all building each other up.
Exactly.
And there's nothing about copying or anything. If you're watching, take it, use it, teach it, modify it if you have to, do whatever you want.
I love it when they do it.
Yeah, I don't mind at all. We didn't invent anything. I just helped put it together.
Jiu-Jitsu's favorite monthly subscription box has now joined the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast. The BJJ box is delivered to your door filled with premium jiu-jitsu and grappling apparel, equipment, supplements, supplies, snacks, and more. The crew at the BJJ box find the best in the world of jiu-jitsu and guarantee every box to be worth more than the cost. Each box includes 4 to 7 items you're going to love. Visit thebjjbox.com and use code JJD10 to get $10 off your very first box. And give them a follow on Instagram at TheBJJBox. Neutral Zone is combat family owned, so they know you need to keep yourself and your equipment clean. They created Neutral Zone Clean wipes and sprays for just that purpose. Neutral Zone products are formulated to reduce the risk of bacterial and fungal infections. Whatever's making you sweat, weight training, rolling on the mats, yard work, or just working around the house, Neutral Zone Clean wipes and sprays can make you feel and smell refreshed. Use code JJD to get 15% off your online order at neutralzoneclean.com. While you're there, sign up for their newsletter to receive the latest info and updates on product launches like their new shower gel and soap bar coming soon. Are you Neutral Zone Clean? Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and while you're there, pick up a Jiu-Jitsu Dummy signature tee exclusively at flowandroll.com. And remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
So
That's organizing the ideas is sometimes more important than inventing.
I'll leave it with the only housekeeping we're going to do is you could check us out at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies on Instagram. You can check out all the ways to watch, listen, and support. If you click the link in our bio, it'll take you to every single page that we have, whether it's Facebook or the YouTube or what have you. My personal IG is Uncle Milty BJJ. Bo?
At BADWERKS, Badworks.
All right. And that's, we'll leave it there. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for inviting me to the seminar. Appreciate you using us, for business. And yeah, man. Well, Freddie, when you after the next BJJ Fanatics, when you've got the new one coming out, you don't know the ETA. It'll probably be a couple of months.
But I look forward to some teaching some seminars.
Well,
Definitely.
Do you go to Boston when you?
I'll go anywhere.
No, I'm asking you when you record your BJJ Fanatics.
The first one we went to Boston. Second one they came here to record.
A lot of people don't know this. We started like Mike Zenga and I. We started like.
Oh, you know Mike?
Yeah, we started competing together.
Who's that? He's somebody that runs things over there?
He runs
Mike,
the whole thing.
And I used to drive everywhere and fly everywhere. Back then was no BJJ competitors. Was only Mike. Mike actually, he's a very good judo player. Was Mike, Taizi, Joy Lozon, Kenny Florian. You know what I mean? Back in early 2000s. And we used to travel everywhere to compete, facing each other. Yeah, I lost count how many tournaments. We from the same gym, Mike and I. So.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
okay.
Mike is solid jiu-jitsu, man.
So we'll pick that up on the next podcast because we're definitely going to do this again next time you're down here. We'll do it again. Freddie, you're down here. You're always welcome. I appreciate you guys for coming on.
If you guys got another seminar you guys are doing next, and I'm available, let me know. I'll come and take pictures.
Oh, okay. Oh, very cool. Thank you, man.
One.
All right, so thank you for watching and listening, everybody. Peace, love, jiu-jitsu.
Bo knows.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Bo's nose.